Great. Thank you, Singapore Poly, for having me here today. I have had the distinguished pleasure to be a part of the audience for many years for this summit. And today I have the honor to be here to share with you what we at P&G have been successfully, at least trying, to do humanity-centric innovation that has a lasting social impact. The topic is very close to my heart, and in the next 15 odd minutes, I wanted to share how we are continuously learning to raise the bar in this domain. So the journey really began in 1837 when these two individuals, William Procter, a candle maker, and James Gamble, a soap maker, came together to form what we call as the Procter & Gamble company today. Now you realize the time is 1837. US is barely 60 years old. The businesses are small, they're hyper-local, and at the time the US was going through a very significant banking crisis. It was apparently their father-in-law who told them to come together so that they could have some scale. And thankfully for all of us today, they actually listened to him. So this is how it really started. By the time they decided to come together, William Procter had already printed all the stationery for their activities that they were going to do. So he just scribbled his partner's name and Gamble on this note that they were buying some stuff for the company. I would say this was our first humble attempt at sustainability and cost savings too. Consumer-centric or humanity-centric innovation has been at the forefront of whatever we have done over the last 185 years. Back in the days, candles were made of a material called tallow. It's an animal fat, very commonly used for candle making back in the days and somehow today as well. But tallow, as you know, from an animal fat material is soft and it melts in summer conditions. And when people used to buy those candles, some of those candles would go to waste. Procter & Gamble was one of the first companies to start using stearic acid to make candles, which were harder in nature and won't melt. Again, a superior product for the job to be done, creating less waste. Our customers back then and even today supported us quite a bit. So this image that you see on the right of your screen is from our distributor in Chicago back in the days, which clearly says highest grade, honest weight. And this has been the bedrock of whatever we have done over the last 180 years and also resulted in P&G winning the government contract for the US Civil War for candles back in the days. For much of 1800s, our business was primarily candles, 80% of it. But towards the turn of the century, this started to change with the invent of gas lighting and later on electricity. Thankfully, the sons of Procter & Gamble had the foresight to look ahead and pivoted towards our soap side of the business. And in 1879, P&G launched its first ever brand called the Ivory soap. And this was a game-changing innovation in that sense because ivory as a soap was gentle enough to be used on the body, but strong enough to do other chores like cleaning your dishes or cleaning other parts, laundry, and other parts of the home as well. Back in the day, as you know, resources were limited. Consumers used to use one product for multiple jobs, but this product was designed in a manner that it could be used for several different jobs. One other important thing about this product was ivory floated. And this was a game-changing innovation at that point in time because when people used to do their dishes in a tub or a sink, the soaps at that time sunk. Or when women back in the days used to do laundry besides a river bank or in a pond, the soaps would just go away and go wasted. Ivory floated so you could catch hold of it again and use it over and over and over again. And one other interesting thing, if you look at the photo here, the innovators at the time very carefully designed a notch in the middle of the soap. And that was to break it into two parts. So one could be kept in your bathroom, one could be kept in the kitchen or other parts of the household. So driving habit adoption across different jobs to be done in the household. Again, designing for what consumers or humans want. We're now moving 40 years later into the 1920s. Remember, our candle business is disrupted. We no longer sell candles. Our primary business is soap. And we are selling soaps for home, dish, laundry, floor cleaning, and everything else. This becomes a primary part of our business. At that point in time, we also had a big business in professional laundry. So we used to supply laundry goods to professional laundries who would then do the laundry for their customers. And this was a big, sizable business for us. At that point in time, in 1923, P&G instituted a group called Product Services Group, which is now called Product Research, a function that I work for. And the primary job for these individuals was to go to these laundry institutions or companies and watch how these people do the laundry, how they wash people's laundry, and then look, observe, and then come back and see how we can make their lives even better, make better products, make easier for them to do the laundry. This, over the next couple of years from 1920s onwards, we used to send them hundreds of different types of laundry material, the clothing material, and thousands of different types of laundry care product samples, and was the first example of consumer testing at scale, which continues till today, of what we do in all of our innovations, listening to the consumers and bringing the knowledge back to develop superior products that do the job. Over the years, P&G has listened to the consumer and developed products that care for the environment as well. The example that you see, the first photo, is a Downy triple concentrate. This was a product launched in 1983, where a triple concentrated fabric softener was launched, reducing the packaging and reducing the amount of water that is there in the bottle. That also reduces the shipping footprint as well. As some of you may know, that about 80 to 90% of greenhouse gas emissions in the laundry process actually come from the end usage, in-home usage of the product, not so much in the manufacturing or logistics of the product. It's actually in the end usage. And a big component of that is doing our laundry in warm water or hot water, as some individuals would be doing. And that is what contributes to the highest amount of carbon dioxide emissions in the laundry process. Back in 2005, P&G scientists looked at this and developed a product called Tide Cold Water, which would do the same job but in cold water. Moving on, over the last decade or so, we've been running campaigns on our products like Ariel and all, and it's a prominent part of our product messaging called Turn to 30. And that is, when you're running your washer, turn it to 30 degrees Celsius. And this is what has been reducing significant emissions up to the tune of 15 million metric tons of carbon dioxide. So all P&G brands across our laundry portfolio have this messaging now that we are helping to drive with the end usage of the product. More contemporarily, we've also been looking at different technologies to further reduce our footprint. And this is a very new development, a brand called Sassy Clean. You may be able to Google it at sassyclean.com. One of our latest technologies called aerosol micellar technology, aerofoam micellar technology. So basically, you would buy a small marshmallow-like cube, a few of them in a packet, which will ship to you. There's body wash, there's hand wash. And then you reconstitute that in a bottle at home by just filling water. So we don't need to necessarily ship water in the big truckloads and reduce logistical footprint of that as well. What you get is actually a recyclable carton, a paper-based bag for those small cubes, and a recycled plastic bottle that you can use over and over again every time that you use. Again, listening to the consumers, understanding the job to be done, and caring for the environment is at the core of whatever we do. As a global corporate citizen, we've also been involved in several alliances. I just give a couple of examples here. One is our 50-liter home alliance, which we are working with World Economic Forum, World Business Council for Sustainable Development, and some other big corporations across the water usage chain, companies like Electrolux, Kohler, where we're looking at how each home or each individual in a home could do with 50 liters of water that makes them feel like 500 liters at net zero. The other alliance, which we were a founding member of, is Alliance to End Plastic Waste, and our former CEO is founding chairman of this alliance. It's formed with 20 other companies across the plastic value chain. The real intent of this alliance is to bring together NGOs, governments, SMEs to see how to put end use of plastic to a better use. An example of this is our Closing the Loop program, where entrepreneurs from vulnerable communities in Ghana have been given funds to further procure plastic that could be then sold to be recycled or reused. So that's one of the alliance that we have been working on. And in the group that I work for, personal health care, we work in the consumer health division. Now, when you develop products you've been developing products that touch about 5 billion consumer lives every day, the task is massive. So we are looking at how do we drive this very intentionally in every single initiative that we do at our company. This sustainability check, as you can see, there are questions like, so every time, say I or one of my team members wants to bring a project forward to our management, these questions have to be answered. Does the initiative use more plastic than what we do today? Does the initiative use more recyclable material? Are there any environmentally controversial ingredients that we are incorporating in our products? So we have to answer these questions before a management gives a go-ahead to the project. And what I say is, in the consumer health world, we touch consumers' life every single day. And consumers come back to us, as Adrian was also sharing, they want something. Every time they want something, we look into it, and to raise the bar and to develop the product further, we look into their complaints. But then there are days when you wake up in the morning and you see an email in your inbox from the consumer relations team where somebody in Australia has written an ode to a product called Vicks Whip. I'm sure Vicks has touched probably everybody in this room. It's an iconic product. So this one I got from a consumer in Australia. And the reason why I put it in this presentation is because I felt this is how we touch humanity. This is how we touch their lives, and so much so that consumers don't just love your product and call you and say, hey, I love your product, I'm going to buy it again. They write odes about it. Right. So if anybody wants to read it, I'll leave it on the screen, or I can send it to you as well. It's free publicity. So as I was saying, all we do starts with, I shared the example about 1920s, how we used to go into these professional laundries and observe them. We continue to do that for every single initiative. We listen to the consumers and then bring about the innovation based on those principles. And that is why this is a call for you to come join us in our journey for this humanity-centric innovation. We have consumer research panels. In our organization, we have a sensory research panel as well. We work a lot with the Live Well collaborative group with Siakun and his team have been working for the last 10 years, listening and then bringing the consumers in. So we have that going around. So we are looking for people like you. So if you would like to join us in our journey towards this humanity-centered innovation of our products that touch so many consumers around the world, you can scan and or that email, you can take a photo of this and join us. And there's some monetary rewards as well at the end of it. Okay, so that's all from my side. Thank you very much.